and 21. And he can also go back and forth between that defensive tackle, defensive end spot, depending on if Coach Odom wants. He's gonna run the multiple defense. He may run a 3-2-6. Here he's going to start off with the 4-2-5. We'll have to see as far as that goes. Terry Hampton is right behind him on the depth chart. He's a 6'1", 314 senior transfer from Arkansas State, originally from El Dorado. And Isaiah Nichols, he's going to be the anchor to this defensive line. He's a 6'3", 315 redshirt senior. Made 4 starts and played in all 13 games last year. And he has a lot of experience in playing in 37 games with 11 starts in 4 seasons at Arkansas. That's the reason why Sam Pittman has put so much of an emphasis on Isaiah Nichols to be able to come out there and put quality snaps together in multiple series. And that's going to be a very, very key point. That's the reason why he's emphasized Isaiah Nichols being able to participate, get some reps in practice so that he can be ready for that first game of the season. And right behind him on the depth chart's Cam Ball. He's a 6'5", 303 freshman. He's a 3-star guy, but he was the 35th rated defensive tackle in the nation. So I feel like that's a little misleading in a way that a guy with his large frame that's a top 35 player in that position is only a 3-star. So have to kind of see where that happens as far as playing time for him. I think he's going to get a lot personally. So we're going to move over to the linebacker in that second level. We got the 2 guys that we all knew were going to be starters from the get-go. Bumper Pool, Andrew Sanders, providing a lot of speed on the edges and also a lot of run stopping ability in the middle. One of the takeaways that I have from this section of the defense is Jordan Crook is second on the list behind Bumper Pool. He's a 6'2", 232 freshman, 3-star recruit out of Duncanville, Texas. He was the number 10 inside linebacker in the nation. And I'm going to tell you what, the kid can fly. That's the reason why he's right behind Bumper Pool. And I feel that the position is in great hands as far as depth goes. You heard him talk about how Bumper had talked a little bit about whenever you have guys that are older guys mentoring younger guys, it's making the younger guys step up into a role that they haven't been into before, where they have to compete and be ready. In high school, they were, we'll be fine, but we've got our starting spot. But now they're not, and they have to be ready. And these Bumper being a senior and Sanders being a junior, they're getting these guys ready to step into those spots whenever need be. And then on the other side behind Drew Sanders is Pooh Paul, or Chris Paul Jr. He's a 6'1", 230-pound redshirt freshman. And he did see action in 4 games last year, but that was just to keep his red shirt, I think, more than anything else, just to get him out there also to see what he could do on the field a little bit. But knowing that you've got 2 freshmen behind 2 proven linebackers tells me that these guys are the real deal, and they're ready to step up at a moment's notice. So let's take a look at the back end of the defense here. And as I talked about, we said that they're going to be running a nickel defense starting out. So your cornerbacks are Ladarius Bishop, Hudson Clark, and Miles Slusher. We thought that Miles might start. They had to find a way to get Miles Slusher on the field as much as possible with his playmaking ability. Also, mixing in Simeon Blair, which is one of the starting safeties, and then Jalen Catalon, which is extremely huge having him back this year. And kind of think about it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, if Catalon felt like he could improve his draft stock, he could even come back next year. So we'll have to see. I don't think that'll happen, but you will just see. Behind Catalon, you've got Latavius Brini, a 6'2", 215 senior, the transfer from Georgia. And of course, he had 11 starts in 13 games for the national champion Georgia Bulldogs last year. And you are going to definitely see that guy on the field. It says that he's second on the depth chart, but it ain't going to happen because you're going to see a guy like that with that much speed, that much playmaking ability and instincts. You got to get him on the field somehow. And then right behind Hudson Clark is Dwight McGlothern. They have it listed as an or with Kari Johnson. I know that they've talked a lot about Kari and being able to make some plays during fall camp, but Dwight McGlothern is another guy that it just brings it every game. He's a transfer from LSU. And he has he played in 17 games with 6 starts in 2 seasons, and he was just having a hard time breaking through that part, that part of the lineup at LSU. And kind of saw that swap for LSU and Arkansas, Brian Kelly, a little bit. And I thought that was kind of a fun little deal there. But I feel like Arkansas got the better end of it because you send 2 cornerbacks over, but you get Dwight McGlothern, and you also get Landon Jackson out of the whole deal. So I think it's going to be really important for this team to get out really quick and make a real big impact and hit Cincinnati in the mouth right from the get-go. They do. They have lost. I do believe they've lost 9 players to the draft. 2 corners that got that were exceptional, and then Desmond Ridder, the quarterback, he's moved on too. And you're going to see the younger guy from Cincinnati. I think he's a sophomore, maybe a junior. Anyway, junior. He's going to be stepping up, and I have to look at their depth chart, but he's definitely going to be a guy that they're going to be looking on to step up and fill in for Desmond Ridder in his shoes. And those are some big shoes to fill from a team that went to the college football playoff last year. They got thumped pretty good, but they got there. It's more in Arkansas can say. They didn't get there last year, so we'll have to see how that goes. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to switch some gears here. So if you haven't got your tickets, and if they're available, go get them. Make sure you stop over at the tailgating area, and that's going to be a fun atmosphere out there too as well. But we're going to switch some gears, and we're going to take a look at some Razorback news as far as pro Hogs go. And I want to thank the Hogs Sports Group page, and Adam Hall does a lot of great work over there, and tries to keep up to date as much as possible the Razorbacks that are in the NFL, kind of marks off who's been let go, adds on who's been picked up. If you saw the news today, Trey Flowers signed a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be he's going to be down there in South Florida with Tua Tagovailoa and that interesting offense with Tyreek Hill, and kind of bring a little bit of balance. And it's great to see. I mean, he definitely. I mean, he missed preseason, but honestly, preseason is not going to be that bad of a deal for him to miss. Let's try to look on here. I know that before everything was said and done, for this last week, week 3 of preseason NFL action, Grant Morgan had been let go by the Jacksonville Jaguars, unfortunately. But here are the Pro Hogs in the NFL update from Adam Hall from Hogs Sports group page on Facebook. Of course, you had Traylon Burks. You saw him get his first touchdown on that cross from about 15, 20 yards out. He had 3 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown. Cody Hollister, he had 4 targets. Actually, let me go back to Traylon for a second. He had 3 targets, but he had 3 catches. So anything that was coming his way, he caught last night. Cody Hollister had 4 targets with 2 catches and 29 yards. Scooter Harris for the Washington football team, or Washington Generals, I'm not sure what you want to call them these days. He had 3 tackles. Brandon Allen, he had a pretty okay game. I wouldn't say the best. I mean, he's pretty much out there and getting ready, to be the backup for Joe Burrow. He was 11 for 15. He had 130 yards passing. He was sacked twice. He had a rush for 3 yards. Buster Brown, he's still with on that Jacksonville roster. He had 4 tackles last night. Felipe Franks, he was 0 for 1, 0 yards, 3 yards rushing, -6 yards. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of odd seeing how they're kind of maneuvering Felipe Franks around on that roster. Is they don't want to get rid of him. They understand the talent that they have in his repertoire, but moving him from tight end to quarterback, it almost seems like he's like a Taysom Hill type guy over there in New Orleans. But John Ridgeway, he had 2 tackles for Dallas. Hunter Henry, he had 2 catches on 2 targets for 23 yards in New England's game. Sosa game, he had 2 tackles and a sack in this game, Denver's game against the Vikings. And then speaking of Vikings, T.J. Smith, he had 3 tackles. And then Jonathan Marshall, the New York Jets, he had 1 pass deflection. So that is your wrap up there for the NFL preseason Week 3 action. That's brought to you by Adam Hall of Hogs Sports, and appreciate all the hard work that he does in that. I know he's a busy guy, and he's really putting it out there and getting the effort going there. I really appreciate all he does. So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some action we saw over the weekend. Arkansas beat Arkansas State in soccer. Starting to see a lot more university sports have that interstate rivalry, or not rivalry, but interstate games with Arkansas State. I know we're going to be moving more into the basketball side here before too long. And then it's not much more long before after that you'll start to see football. The Razorback volleyball team scored. They got their first win of the season Friday night, and it was the first win against a top 10 opponent in Razorback history. I do believe since 2007, and it was the very first one for coach of the Hogs, and that was his first top 10 win of his career. And it's really important because the Razorbacks, they were kind of on that teetering edge of the NCAA tournament last year. And they didn't have very many quality opponents at the first of the year. And they've changed that as far as their scheduling has went. So it's really imperative that they were to get that, that first win of the season. It was really great to see that happen. And just remember, everybody, to tune in. If you're not going to the game, tune in to the SEC Network on Saturday on the Old Main Lawn, live from the campus of Arkansas on Saturday, September 3rd. You're going to have Marty and McGee. They're going to be kicking it off at 8 a.m. on the SEC Network. And then follow 1 hour after that, you're going to have SEC Nation. You're going to have Laura Rutledge, Paul Feinbaum, Tim Tebow, Jordan Rogers, Roman Harper. And then I'm sure Marty and McGee will be joining them on set back and forth too. Be sure to check out Cooter. I'm sure that Cooter is going to be on there with Marty and McGee too. And it's going to be a great scene and a great atmosphere. And then you all can move on down Maple Street and then hit lot 56 and see all of the good stuff that they have. Make sure to check out Razor Effects too. They got a prime tailgate spot there at the Gardens.